Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. The money is coming to XRP, and it's literally happening right now. In my last video, I talked about total value lock, so I'm not going to be getting into that in this video, but I talked about it as it pertains to the automated market maker, talked a little bit more about the Ripple stablecoin, reiterating the degree to which that is highly consequential for XRP itself being worth way more. But there's certainly more to the picture and certainly more to say as it pertains to this bull cycle that we're in. So let me share with you two headlines and then we'll get into it. This one's from the Crypto Basic. Analyst predicts XRP to reach $30 with a big candle that might push prices up by 4,000%. Then there's also this from crypto media outlet U Today. XRP market inflows skyrocket by 100% with $185 million boost. And that's correct, as a lot of people in the XRP community, I wouldn't say most, but big enough that we've noticed a sentiment shift on social media. Lots of XRP holders, they're sick and tired of XRP being where it is, even though it has actually been trending up in price for literally 2 years at this point. They're sick and tired of it. Other stuff's doing better. It makes them a bunch of sad pandas. No more patience. XRP's never going to, the whole sentiment thing. Okay, well, as some are feeling like that, the institutions don't care because they behave differently than the typical lemming retail speculators out there. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, is it reasonable to suppose that XRP actually could hit $30 this market cycle? Well, before jumping into this piece, I want to say this. I want to preface this because I think you got to look at the bigger picture here. If this is going to happen, it will happen because a lot more money first flowed into Bitcoin than people were anticipating. And then the money cycles through the entire world of crypto, including XRP, because the asset class moves in tandem, and XRP is indeed part of the asset class, despite what the toxic Bitcoin maxi trolls would have you believe. And so I found this post from chart analyst Tech Dev very interesting. He shared this with his 456,700 followers on social media platform X just last night. And he wrote the following. Bitcoin had no business setting new highs in 2021. M1s, so he's talking about the M1 money supply, and all you need to know if you're not familiar, just for the purposes of this video, is M1 is the most liquid money out there. So you can think about cash, savings account, checkings account. That's all you need to know. We're talking about a highly liquid money right here, which is a big amount of money. So he says M1 soared to record heights, but Bitcoin couldn't set one against it. And again, he's talking about 2021, last market cycle. And then he says, were it not for the COVID panic M1 liquidity, I have no doubt we'd be watching a single gentler parabola since 2018, and the discussion around cycles would be much different. Okay, so let's pause note. What he's saying there is, last market cycle, we just debased the hell out of the dollar, and not just the dollar, all sorts of fiat currencies, money printed into oblivion. But what happened as the dollars were printed? Well, they were invested into things, including risk-on assets like equities and cryptocurrencies. Unquestionably, that's the case. So the argument that he's making is, it looks like, from his perspective, is that that's a big part of the reason why we had what is perceived as its own cycle in 2021. And you may recall, if you've been following me, I've been tracking what's happening, or the perspective that many analysts have been sharing, like Credible Crypto, for example. He's been arguing for literally, I think at this point, over half a decade, that what we're actually seeing, if you look at what happened last cycle, that actually that wasn't its own cycle. It's just that what we're experiencing now is basically a super cycle, if you will. And so what we saw in 2021, while fun, and yes, Bitcoin hit new highs, that's just part of a bigger cycle, which is yet to have a blow off top. He's been arguing that for half a decade. So we'll see if he's right. I don't know if he's right or wrong. I'm just sharing with you ideas that people share on social media, so take it for what it's worth here. But this seems to support such an argument, and Tech Dev is coming to this conclusion, it seems. I mean, look at what he wrote here. So without that money coming in, he's like, well, Bitcoin wouldn't have blown up in price in 2021 if there weren't a bunch more newly printed money that could then be used for that purpose. That's that's basically what he's getting at with it. And so he's saying we'd have a gentler parabola because there wouldn't have been this outlier where I'm circling out for those who look at the screen. We wouldn't have this. It would just look like this slope up to wherever it would be today. But you wouldn't have this. This messes up the beauty of a single slope, right? See, that's the point that he's making there. And then he says, now that it's broken above its 2-month super trend, we're likely in for that blow-off move it's always signaled. And so look at what he's highlighting here, and this is indeed fascinating. Going back to the 2013 bull run here, as well as 2017, where Bitcoin did make major moves against M1, surpassing, and so he notes here. Look at what we're calling the last market cycle. At least colloquially, that's what we call 2020, like its own cycle. That's what most of us have been saying anyway, right or wrong. He's saying there was no blow off top here. But then you look at 2017 and 2013 and 2014. He says those were blow off tops. 2021, not a blow off top. Now, if you were around in 2021, that might sound familiar to you, because even though there was a massive run from the bottom of Bitcoin down, how low did it get in 2018? Like $3,200. So it ran all the way up to close to $70,000. It's a massive run, but I will certainly acknowledge, even though that's true, it didn't have the same like explosive finale that we saw in 2017 and the early part of 2018 in the world of crypto. It definitely did not. It didn't have the same feel. The alt season certainly wasn't as strong, and so. There's been all sorts of theories, and I said, well, maybe it's one of my ideas. It was like, well, maturation of the asset class. You wouldn't expect from one cycle to the next that it's going to look exactly the same, kind of rhyme with itself, but not look exactly the same. And as an asset class matures, you realize maybe most of these coins don't make sense, and even if they're all going to move in tandem, maybe they don't all need to have new all-time highs, and so, which is, I think, a pretty logical thought process. But even though I do still think that logically makes sense, maybe there's more to it, which is what tech dev's getting at right here. Maybe there is indeed more. Maybe credible crypto was. We're going to find out together here. But the reason I'm highlighting this first, and then we're getting into the XRP stuff, is because if this is correct, that means Bitcoin's going to go way higher than what anybody's been, I shouldn't say anybody, but what most reputable analysts have been expecting. And I'll say, like, I'm not an analyst. I'm not pretending to be. But these predictions of Bitcoin going to like $300,000 to $400,000, I don't really take them seriously. I'm like, okay, fine, it's crypto, so I'll acknowledge, fine, maybe weird stuff happens, and it actually goes, oh, okay, whatever. I haven't taken it that seriously. I don't know if that means I'm wrong and I should be. Perhaps that's the case here, because if credible crypto is right all along, and this is the part of the cycle where we get the blow off top, and 2021 was just a fun pit stop. Oh, buckle up then. So if this happens, the amount of money that's going to flow into XRP is going to be otherworldly. It will absolutely make faces melt. There will be no jaw to drop. It's going to fall off the damn face. Like that's the type of stuff that we're talking about right here. And I'm not going to read this article, but I wanted to note that this is an article highlighting Peter Brandt, who is one of the most famous analysts in all of crypto. He's probably got what does he have? Probably close to 1 million followers on social media platform X at this point. I don't know, whatever it is, it's really high. Maybe it's like 700,000, but there's this article from the Daily Hodl talking about the exact same topic. I'm not going to read through it. It's not necessary for the purpose, just for the purposes of this video and just save time, but I will read this part here. According to Brandt, the chart, which is on your screen right now, and it's Bitcoin priced against M1, he says, according to Brandt, the chart reminds him of a pattern seen about 4 decades ago when the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index ignited a bull market to end the stagflation of the 1970s. And he said, quote, interesting to note similarities in chart structure to Dow Jones Industrial Average during period of great stagflation of 1970s. And so I'm just sharing this. This is not some sort of fly-by-night idea. There are lots of analysts that are saying, hey, actually, this is kind of interest. We'll see who's right and who's wrong by the time this is all over. But my God, if this is indeed correct, explosive stuff yet to happen. Here's a post also from chart analyst Jelly, and he said, after nearly 100 days of consolidation, it looks like Bitcoin is ready to embark on the next leg higher. I got my eyes on $85,000. Send it. So that would be a fun move. So just to be clear, folks, I'm not saying that sold on this idea of Bitcoin going to like over $400,000. It's not the point. I like to share various interesting ideas from reputable sources, and it's not a crazy idea. It's still, you know, mostly accepted that from this point maybe Bitcoin does maybe a 2x or a 3x if things get wild. But if these guys are right, I want to highlight it now because they will deserve all the credit in the world. Like guys like Credible Crypto, if he's right, and he's been calling it for half a freaking decade. Yeah. So that's when you talk about $30 XRP this market cycle. Well, okay, if we're talking about that type of level for Bitcoin, now I'm like, well, yeah, now it's starting to sound like it makes a whole ton of sense. Maybe even higher than that. Who knows? What if XRP goes to 40 or 50 bucks? Which is nothing. Now, I don't make predictions, but I've mostly brushed off that type of stuff. If you've been following me for, you know, more than 5 seconds, you know that about me. Some of the bigger predictions are like, now, if you're talking over a long period of time, then you don't lose me. If you're talking like, you know, whether it's a decade or two or whatever, and you start talking about XRP getting to triple digits, then I'm like, well, okay. If you're talking about a very mature asset class, and maybe it's worth tens of trillions of dollars or $100 trillion, oh, okay, fine. Like, that's totally reasonable. But if you're talking for one market cycle, you start to lose me. But if something like this happens, then it starts to seem likely, actually. So I'm not saying I'm sold on this. I'm just saying that the idea is interesting. So here's the headline from the Crypto Basic. Analyst predicts XRP to reach $30 with a big candle that might push prices up by 4,000%. Notable market analyst and crypto YouTuber Dusty BC expects XRP to witness a massive big candle that could trigger a 4,000% rally to $30. According to Dusty BC, the emergence of a God candle on the weekly time frame is imminent as XRP continues to battle the 52-cent price level. The analyst chart shows that amid this battle with the bears, XRP has been trading within a multi-year symmetrical triangle on the weekly chart. Yeah, and so, you know, that's another thing. I'll show you his actual post in a second here, but that's another thing worth mentioning. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately, actually. XRP has been consolidating for over 6 years. It's been over 6 years since an XRP all-time high. So if we're going to see that type of liquidity flow into crypto, and then it's going to rotate into XRP and other coins, and XRP already has been consolidating for that long, which means it's primed, my God. This could be beyond insane. And if so, I'm here for it. But here's the actual post from him. This is an XRP USD chart, and he said, if this happens for XRP, I'm quitting everything. And I say, fair enough. You know, XRP God candle upwards of $30. And look, I can't say it's impossible. Even if the stuff, you know, the implications of Bitcoin and M1 money supply, even if that ends up being nothing, and even if the theory about this elongated cycle is wrong, I still can't rule out something like this happening. I'd just be certainly way less convinced it's going to happen in a single cycle. But it's crypto, folks. Like, crazy things happen. Now, there is such a level where I start to hear price predictions, and then, you'll lose me, and my eyes glaze over. I'm like, oh, God, are you guys serious? Like, you can lose me. You know, I'm happy to share my opinion when that stuff happens here. But at a minimum, I think at least most of us would probably agree, at a minimum, at least this is not anywhere near crazy talk. It just isn't. So we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, money's still flowing into XRP. Headline from you today, XRP market inflows skyrocket by 100% with $185 million boost. And so that bigger figure right there, $185 million, they're talking about what's flowing into crypto. Over I think that was the weekly, over the past week. I don't need to read the article. I just want to make the broader point that this is what's happening right now for just 1 week before XRP is in the spotlight. You know, it's always of interest to me and you listening undoubtedly, but wait until XRP really starts running. Then it will be interesting to see what's happening here. So a lot of this money, more on the institutional side, of course, here, they've been positioning. And so here you can see flows by asset, U.S. millions here. Not surprisingly, of course, Bitcoin's at the top. Although it actually isn't always. There have been instances where Bitcoin's been down to the tune of tens of millions in a single week and XRP's up. Like I've highlighted that when it happens. It's just interesting when it happens. But here you can see XRP, not the craziest big number, but in a single week, $800,000 while the market's just been moving sideways for over 2 months. You know, when there's more excitement, that can be in the millions and higher. But, you know, all that to say, XRP, the idea that XRP is not going to participate in this market cycle, literally untrue. It's participating right this very second, in fact. And you just wait, because eventually that money's going to come for XRP, and it's going to cycle through the space, and it will start rocketing to the upside. Because XRP is part of the crypto asset class, and the asset class moves in tandem. And on top of that, if XRP didn't make sense, why has it been in the top 10 coins by market cap for over a freaking decade? How come nobody else is ever pointing that out? Because it's an incredible point. Of course it's going to go. That's my conviction anyway. Of course I see the point. Nobody technically knows for sure. I'm sharing with you my conviction. I've never been more optimistic that we are going to see that type of thing happen. So you guys let me know what you think. I just wanted to share some thoughts, but I find this fascinating. And if a lot of these very reputable analysts out here are correct, the implications of Bitcoin and the M1 money supply, if it is going to be that big, you better buckle up for your alts, because it's going to be, I don't even, what word should I use? Like what descriptive word do I use to describe what's going to happen? It's just going to be pure bedlam. I am ready for it though. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.